Alright, imagine this. You're scrolling through real estate listings, dreaming of your next home, or maybe just curious about your current one. You stumble upon a number, a price estimate, a Zestimate. It's right there, bold and seemingly definitive. But here's the burning question. Can you actually trust that number? Is it the golden ticket to understanding your home's true value, or is it just a digital mirage? That's what we're diving into today. The Zestimate. It's become a household name, synonymous with online real estate valuation. But how accurate is it really? And more importantly, how much should you rely on it when making major financial decisions? Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's take a step back and understand what a Zestimate actually is. Zillow, the company behind it, describes it as their estimated market value for an individual home, calculated on millions of data points. Think of it as an algorithm's best guess, a statistical prediction based on publicly available information. Now, that sounds impressive, right? Millions of data points, complex algorithms, the power of big data at your fingertips. But here's the thing. Real estate is inherently local and inherently complex. It's not just about square footage and the number of bedrooms. It's about the neighborhood, the school district, the condition of the property, recent renovations, and even the subjective appeal of the home. All of these factors play a role in determining a property's true market value. So, where does the Zestimate get its information? Primarily, it pulls data from public records, including tax assessments, property deeds, and previous sales. It also incorporates user-submitted data, such as listing information and property details. And, of course, it uses its own algorithms to analyze this data and generate an estimate. But here's the crucial point. The accuracy of the Zestimate varies significantly depending on the amount and quality of data available. In areas with frequent sales and comprehensive public records, the Zestimate tends to be more accurate. However, in rural areas or areas with less frequent sales, the Zestimate may be significantly off. Zillow themselves acknowledge this. They provide a median error rate for their Zestimates, which indicates the typical difference between the Zestimate and the actual sale price. This error rate can vary widely from region to region. For example, in some areas, the median error rate might be around 2%, while in others, it could be as high as 10% or even more. Let's break that down. A 10% error rate on a $500,000 home means the Zestimate could be off by as much as $50,000. That's a significant amount of money, and it highlights the potential risks of relying solely on the Zestimate. One of the biggest limitations of the Zestimate is its reliance on publicly available data. It often lacks access to crucial information, such as the condition of the interior of the home, recent renovations, or any unique features that might impact its value. For example, a home with a brand new kitchen and updated bathrooms might be worth significantly more than a similar home with outdated features, even if the Zestimate doesn't reflect that. Furthermore, the Zestimate doesn't account for market fluctuations in real time. Real estate markets can change rapidly, and the Zestimate may not always keep up with these changes. For instance, a sudden surge in demand in a particular neighborhood could drive up home prices, but the Zestimate might lag behind, underestimating the current market value. Another factor to consider is the emotional aspect of homeownership. People often have emotional attachments to their homes, which can influence their perceived value. The Zestimate, on the other hand, is purely objective, based on data and algorithms. It doesn't take into account the sentimental value that a homeowner might place on their property. So, if the Zestimate isn't always accurate, what can you do to get a more reliable estimate of your home's value? First and foremost, consult with a local real estate agent. Real estate agents have in-depth knowledge of the local market and can provide a comparative market analysis, CMA, which compares your home to similar properties that have recently sold in the area. This analysis takes into account the specific features and condition of your home, as well as current market conditions. Secondly, consider getting a professional appraisal. An appraisal is an independent assessment of your home's value, conducted by a licensed appraiser. Appraisers use a variety of methods to determine a property's value, including comparing it to similar properties and assessing its condition. Thirdly, do your own research. Look at recent sales data in your area and pay attention to the factors that are driving home prices. Consider the condition of your home, any recent renovations, and the overall appeal of your property. Fourthly, understand the Zestimate is a starting point, not a final number. It is a tool, not a perfect oracle. Use it for general knowledge, but don't make major financial decisions based solely on it. Let's talk about some real-world examples. Imagine two houses next door to each other, both with similar square footage and the same number of bedrooms. However, one house has been meticulously maintained and recently renovated, while the other is in need of significant repairs. The Zestimate might be similar for both houses, but the actual market value could be significantly different. Or consider a house located in a highly desirable school district. The Zestimate might not fully capture the premium that buyers are willing to pay for a home in that area. Another example is a home with a unique feature, such as a stunning view or a rare architectural detail. The Zestimate might not adequately account for these unique features, underestimating the home's value. Now, let's address some common misconceptions about the Zestimate. Some people believe that the Zestimate is always accurate, while others believe that it's completely unreliable. The truth, as we've discussed, lies somewhere in between. The Zestimate is a useful tool, but it's not perfect. Another misconception is that the Zestimate is the same as an appraisal. This is not the case. An appraisal is a professional assessment conducted by a licensed appraiser, while the Zestimate is an automated estimate generated by an algorithm. So, to summarize, the Zestimate is a valuable tool for getting a general idea of your home's value, but it's not a substitute for professional advice. It's important to understand the limitations of the Zestimate and to use it in conjunction with other sources of information. Don't let the Zestimate be the sole driver of your real estate decisions. Use it as a starting point, a conversation starter, but always dig deeper. Talk to local experts, do your research, and understand the nuances of your specific market. Ultimately, the true value of your home is what a buyer is willing to pay for it. The Zestimate can provide a helpful estimate, but it's just that, an estimate. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.